name's Terry Stanker, and I live at 6423 Hadley. My kids have competed in that pool since they were 6 years old, and they are now 33 and 36. It became what we got up and did every day. My kids worked at the pool, so we were there I've been here for 36 years. We started that first summer, so they worked. That was their jobs. Not only did they learn to participate in a very disciplined sport, they got jobs there. They made a lot of friends. They went to a parochial school, so a lot of their public school friends they met through the summer. So we had school friends and summer friends, and it was really cool because it brought our neighborhood together. It brought our community together. There are people here tonight that I have known since my kids were 6, and it really has. We brought the community together. And you talk about the other pools, well, they can be 20. We don't have another city pool that I'm aware of that is 26 yards. So we can't compete with these other teams. We had a small team when my kids were there compared to Lenexa and Shawnee and Olathe, but we were able to compete, and we were able to make a dent in the awards that were won, and people paid attention to us because of that. If we bring that pool down to where our kids can't compete in it, I mean, you and I had a conversation, and you said, well, they would go, you can't, like the little girl said, about cutting off the football team. You can't cut off part of that. So our kids only swim to here, but when they compete, they got to go to here. It makes a big difference. And so a lot of kids will lose interest because they can't compete with the other teams. Excuse me. So I didn't come prepared. I'm just speaking up from my heart. But I would really plead for you to look at that again, because it has been a huge thing for our family and a huge thing for a lot of people in the community. Thank you.
Larry Cisneros, 4824 Prairie Lane. Hey, I might be the only one in here to have a little enthusiasm about the new development of the community center. My understanding was we had $30 million, $31 million to put a whole package together, inside and out, and give everybody, all different age groups, age brackets, something for the city, something to do at the community center. The big pool, we got a box, $31 million box, and we're trying to get everything in there that people would use, and we found out that not a lot of people use the 50-meter pool. There are just a few people in competition or whatever. But for the most part, it's going to be young children, young families, mothers, older people when they do that walking in the, whatever that is, that resistance pool, and they can go inside and out. 50-meter pool for outside for 2.5 months use. That just isn't that cost effective year-round for everybody. And then when you start doing things like that, trying to fit a 50-meter pool in that $30 million budget, you have to take into consideration you're going to start taking away inside facility space for larger equipment, and it's going to cost you more money to run, and then you're going to start losing out on all the benefits of indoor activities. But as it is right now, everything's geared for older people, young toddlers, and all different age groups, so they can use that indoor and outdoor all year round. So I don't know what to say. You know, I'm really enthused about it, and I'm excited. And it's just this one phase right now where we're going through. You still have to go in there and do mechanical, electrical, and try to get it all energy efficient, and still try to keep it on the budget. And that's what everybody's trying to do. Can't concentrate on one piece and start neglecting everything else. You've got to look at the whole puzzle and try to fit it all together and make everybody happy. Because I lived here 38 years, and this is a really good thing for the city I see. And I have no problem at all paying taxes to support this, and all my neighbors over in District 2 that I talk to, and people I see on the street, they're happy about it. They enjoy taking walks, they see the improvements in the parks, the artwork, the community center project coming up. There's a lot of happy things going on in the city. There's a lot of people that can make their night with their working families, they got young kids, but you got a lot of support. That's all I gotta say.
I want to get somebody that's new before we start going back. Ma'am?
Hi, my name is Anna Cheatham and I live at 5548 Lowell in Merriam, Kansas. I have lived here my entire life. I'm 34 years old. My aunt and my mom come and they've been coming to the pool since they were little. It's actually the fourth generation of pool goers because I have my children past their bedtime here. I inherited two stepdaughters and we do their birthday party for one of them as a summer baby at the pool every year, and I just kind of feel like you change it, it's not gonna be like it is. It's not gonna be fun. Out of all the pools on the super pass that we've gone to, Merriam has the most for the kids to do. There's a lot of stuff that keeps them busy while my bigger kid is in the bigger pool going off the diving board, which will no longer be here for them to use. I feel like if you reevaluate things, and I mean, like they said, not everybody's going to be happy, but if you change things around and try to make it to where you can please everybody, I think that would be better. It's a pretty big area. The library I don't really think is needed here. Most people go to the pool, they have fun at the pool. I know we spend hours upon hours at the pool multiple times a week. All my kids are learning to swim at that pool. Downgrading to a smaller pool, it's not a lot of fun. I've been to the Mission pool. I actually stay in the kiddie area because their pool, it's overcrowded. There's too many people in a small area. It's not, you can't have fun. You can't throw things around without, bumping into someone else. I just feel like if you guys maybe redo what you're trying to do, I think it would be better. I think a lot of people could benefit from, an indoor pool as well, but I mean, I don't go to the pool in the summertime to go inside. I don't go to an indoor pool. I want to enjoy the sun. My kids have fun, and I just think it'd be better if, you guys kind of reevaluated what you're trying to do. Thank you.
No, either one of them. One and then the other. Nope. Sorry.
Good evening, I'm Matthew Needham. I'm at 1006 Gary Lane. I want to start by saying that I am 17 years old. I go to Shawnee Mission North High School. This is my senior year. But despite my age, and I may not have as much experience in terms of economics, I still like to think that my opinion has some kind of relative value. So, what I want to say is I originally came here for an AP government class because it is required of us, but I was later inspired by all the people that came up here to give out their opinions, to give an opinion of my own and say that compromise is in fact a part of government, which you guys all represent us a part of. So, while I'm 17 years old, I've been going to the Merriam pool for, gosh, as long as I can remember. As a little guy. But in all my years of going there, I've always known one thing. That pool is awesome. To my mother's dismay, who's back there, she, for the longest time this summer, has been trying to coerce us really into trying to find a different pool after finding out that they're making some changes. And time again, I told her, I don't want to go to a different pool. I like this pool. There have been many times when I've talked to friends of mine at Shawnee Mission North High School who are not only lifeguards, but they go to the Merriam pool as well. they regard our pool as one of the best, not only because it's big, because it has a really kind of culture around it, as well as there's so many other things that other pools don't. So I would like to take into consideration not only the rather culture that's built around that, but also the amount of jobs that many of my friends will not be able to go back as lifeguards anymore or work at the Max Snack Shack because of this pool being closed down, and many among the swim teams, which I'm planning to join this year, say that it's more of a rite of passage to work as a lifeguard at a pool, preferably the Merriam pool, so you work among some of your colleagues. So if I have to say some things, just if it's already been passed and there's nothing more we can do about it, I honestly plead with you, try your best to change your mind and make some repairs to the pool, and if that's too late, make it as similar to the current pool as we have already. Simply because it's what's going to please the people out here. All these people have come up here and they've said they like the pool that it currently is, they like the size that it is, and I believe that they are honestly right, because I honestly agree with them. I like the pool the way it is. I think it's the best pool. I'm proud that we have a pool like that. I'm proud that I'm a citizen of Merriam, being born and raised here. And as my friend Tyler Ruzick said, if the Merriam's motto is just right, then let's be the model for other counties, for other cities, really. Instead of being just right, let's go beyond, above and beyond what other cities expect. Let us be the model for them so that they can model their own pools after us, and then we can keep making advances so that we will be the model into a shining new light in all of these new districts. Let us lead the new cities in the way that they can govern or whatever it takes for them to follow our example. Let us be the example. Let us be the true leaders of the future. Thank you.
Hi, my name is Arthur Bagdasarian. My address is 5111 Barley Lane, Merriam, Kansas. Now, before I get into the main issue of the pool, I'd like to set a tone. My parents immigrated to America in 2000 from the former Soviet Union, and as we can all imagine, under communist rule, there was really nothing fun to do there. However, luckily, I was born and raised in this beautiful town of Merriam, Kansas, a town that I adore, I love, and I really am very grateful I've grown up here under a beautiful family and under beautiful people like everyone present. However, like all of us, we can agree, the Merriam Pool is a great landmark for this city. As a kid, I really remember growing up, running the slides, jumping off the high dive, swimming, and not only that, the pool is the main emphasis of the community of Merriam. Everyone comes to have fun, everyone comes to share ideals, and for me specifically, it was a way to become Americanized with other Americans. As someone who only spoke Russian at home, knew minimal English, the more I communicated with individuals, the more I saw a fun way to have fun. Obviously, at the pool and meeting new people, that is how I became Americanized, that's how I became knowledgeable, and obviously just more involved in my community as a whole. Now, it really saddens me that our pool is being deteriorated by these policies enacted. Now remember, the pool is more than a pool. It's more than sports, having fun. Once you deteriorate landmarks like the Merriam Pool, where everyone comes together, you deteriorate the community in Merriam as a whole. We no longer can go on the high dive, set the baby area, no sliding. Overall, as the fine honorable Mrs. Ballard mentioned, a 73% rate, or as she wrote down for me, 73% decrease of overall directional size of the pool. This is simply unacceptable. Now, as my colleague Tyler Ruzick mentioned, that our tax dollars should be only for the plan implemented, the plan proposed for us, the citizens of Merriam. Once you go off of that plan, and once you start to change your rhetoric and change your decision makings, that is unacceptable for the citizens like me, who's only 17 years old, and citizens that pay the taxpayers' money for this pool. Furthermore, a point I very liked, and I like to reiterate, was Mrs. Ballard's point, that there's other pools in the area. Excuse me. If we deteriorate the Merriam pool and just really and bluntly ruin the pool and just overall mess up and not really think about the positive aspects of the pool, there's other pools around. Mission Pool, Rowan Park Pool, Shine Pool around the corner. Once we deteriorate our community, once we gradually decline in quality in our pools, more people will not come together as a community, not talk to each other, not communicate. They're going to disperse to other pools and overall not have a symbol of a get-together and a good, fun, having a time. Talking to people, referencing people to other activities, and overall deterring our sports, our community, our communication as a whole. Off the top of my head, not very good, but thank you for that.
Greetings to you all. My name is Ellen Osterhaus at 9920 West 65th Place, Merriam, Kansas. My husband and I and two small children moved here in 1982. Our small children loved the Merriam pool. They learned how to swim here. They met so many friends. Now they are growing and gone. But you know what? They come back in the summertime. And my daughter, who is now 41, and her two little ones came this summer. And one of the first things that they wanted to do was go to the Merriam pool. The little 7-year-old can swim. Actually, she's a very good swimmer. And she could do the laps. And she loved to dive off the smaller boards and jump off the top boards. I was with the preschooler, and you know what? He had more fun going down that little slide. He went down that slide about 40 times. He had so much fun. And then my daughter and I changed places, and I went with the 7-year-old, and we went down the slides. We had races down the slide. We laughed and we giggled. I mean, again, we had so much fun. The whole idea of this is that there's something for everybody. Here I am, a grandmother, and then I have a 4-year-old preschooler, a 7-year-old, and my daughter is 41, as I said before. We all, had a great time. It was a great family activity. So I am asking you all to rethink this and to be a family area where we can all get together and have fun and enjoy the pool for different ages. Thank you very much.
Thank you. My name is Brian Shapley. I live at 8824 West 49th Terrace. And I didn't prepare anything. I wasn't sure if I was going to say anything, but I just thought I'd come up for a minute or two. I've heard a lot of great memories about the Merriam pool. I don't have those. My wife and children and I moved to Merriam in the spring of 2015. We've been here less than 3.5 years. We moved here temporarily. We were in a housing situation that was not feasible to continue, and a friend knew of a house in Merriam that we could afford. So we moved here temporarily. Again, spring of 2015, by the end of that summer, I was driving to this building and over to Irene French, and I was going to find somewhere where I could get one of those Merriam plates for the front of my truck like Al Frisbee had. Several of you on this board have met me, have talked to me on several occasions. Some of you have talked to me maybe more than you wanted to. But I guarantee you, none of you will argue that there isn't a person around who extols the virtues of Merriam as much as I do. I love this town. We came here temporarily, but we stayed. We stayed for the crazy art in the parks. We stayed for the ability to get anywhere in the Kansas City area within a few minutes. We stayed because of the unbelievable people we met everywhere we went. And we stayed because of that killer pool. We love that pool. Yes, my children love the pool. I have a 5-year-old and a 7-year-old, soon to be 6 and 8, and they love the kiddie section. They love the slides. They love everything everybody else has mentioned. However, my kids are not the only people who live in my house. My wife and I love the pool, and we love the great big rectangular hole full of clean water. we like to swim. We like the swimming pool. And there are some great facilities. People have said there are facilities real nearby here in every direction, but they're not the same. They don't have a big swimming pool. That's what we love. That's why we haven't ever bought a kiddie pool for our house. That's why we buy the pass every single year, because my family loves to come to the Merriam pool and swim. And we're going to miss that terribly if this goes through. Thank you.
Anyone else who wants to come up first?
My name is John Steve. I'm at 9613 West 51st Street. What I've heard here is, say most of the people here are against a new small pool. And I personally, I've read the Larkin report. I've seen the Johnson County maintenance reports that we've gotten. I've gotten reports through the open records. And it seems to me that the old pool can be fixed. And yes, if it's $2 million, that's still less than what is proposed right now that would put that much more money into the community center. I think it's very important that we keep the existing pool and fix it. I think it can be worked. I think it's a concession that can easily be made. And yes, it's been mentioned that democracy is it's a system of give and take, and that's what this is. This is a true democracy. I'm a Merriam concerned citizen, and it is not to spread propaganda. It is not to spread lies. It is not to do anything. Everything that's been told in that little pamphlet it seems to be true to me, at least by the record, the open records, and what I have seen from the master plan and what has been proposed right now. Now, I'm not an expert with pools. I know that my 5 children love the pool. My grandchildren love it. 4 of them were here from out of town. And it was my job to watch them. And I said, okay, kids, you want to go to an indoor pool? And this is after all this has started. And then he looked at me and said, Pop, be real. This is summer. We want to go to an outdoor pool. And of course, that's where they went. They went swimming in an outdoor pool. We don't want to take them to, and they won't be happy. We don't want to take them to a backyard pool. They're not going to be happy with it. They want to be outdoors, and they want it to be big, and they want to be able to have fun. We're not going to have fun if we're small and crowded. Thank you.
Terry Stinker again. I just want to, and I've probably already gone through this, but we already have a library. So I guess I have a question of why would we need to spend the money to move the library if we could keep the library where it is, makes it closer to my house anyway, and use the money for the pool. I mean, it seems like there's a lot of concern about it, and I loved hearing from the kids and their memories and what they did at the pool, because that's what my kids did. And I'm a brand new grandmother and I'm getting ready to start over, so it's pretty exciting. So that's just a question that I'm throwing out, and I know we're not supposed to be asking you questions, but the money that would go to build a new library, is that part of that? Yes?
I'll have to answer that after you say that.
Okay. Thank you.
Strangle? Where's the money coming from to build the new library?
From the library.
Is the city of Merriam paying for any of that other than we're giving them the land that they can build their building? We're not involved in paying for any portion of it.
The library is working with the county.
And the property that the library currently sits, who owns that property?
The library or the county.
If they build a new library and move it here, what will they do with that property?
They have indicated that they'd sell it to fund the construction of the new library.
And I know that while we have a representative here on the board, I won't put her on the spot, but to your knowledge, why is the library that's sitting at 63rd and Antioch, and again, this is just your opinion from what you learned from the many meetings that we had with the board, you and I, What would be some of the reasons why they would want to relocate from 63rd and Antioch to this location?
For actually lower operational cost in terms of there would be some shared facility things, or shared parking lights, things like that. They would be able to. That's when that building was built. It's the first library in the system. That was not the economic corridor that it is today. So it's actually a very high valued spot that they have in their list of properties that they own. So they'd be able to turn around and make some
And the library, the current library that's there, the building, I don't know what the square footage of the building is. Do we know the square footage of it?
Yeah, it's about 30. Only half of it's library operations, the other half, and I'm using those very loosely, so don't hold me. They use a large portion of it for administrative use, not for actual library services. So when they did their master plan, they anticipated just building a library. According to the 2015 Johnson County Comprehensive Library Master Plan, the current Antioch branch is approximately 35,000 square feet. Of that, 17,000 square feet is used for regular branch operations, 18,000 square foot, so approximately half, is utilized for administrative services related to the system-wide library operation and not open to the public. Their master plan, not our master plan, library's master plan, identified a new sized building of 15,000 square foot.
So the current library in existence now, only approximately a little more than half of it's actually in use for the public.
According to the library.
And the new model for libraries being built by the library system is 15,000 square feet.
The ones that are smaller, that are right-sized and built-out communities like our own.
And do you know what they plan on, what the size of the building is being considered at this time for the size that we?
Approximately 15,000 square foot.
And when it was decided to ask the library if they would be interested in moving from the location they're at to the location where we would like for them to be, and before I get to this, it's also widely known that they have a number of problems concerning the age and the condition of that building, and it needs to be replaced. So them staying there is much like our community center. That's really not going to be an option. They're going to either have to tear that building down completely and rebuild it there or somewhere else.
Correct. They made that decision prior to us ever having any conversations about community center that they would tear that building down.
And we knew that, so it made sense to give them the opportunity to move here because, first of all, it would increase the usability of our side and make this complex more friendly for people who want to use it for a variety of reasons that have nothing to do with the outdoor pool, I might add. And when we asked them to do this, it was to help them by giving them a place to move, but it also helps us because we could leave the library to stay in Merriam. Now, you could say probably, well, I could stay in Merriam right where it's at. That piece of property is probably a little too valuable for a library and all, and that's my opinion. They're selling that property for the potential of it going to some retail vendor. It would also benefit the city because ultimately, if they sell goods, we get sales tax for that. So this is really a win-win for everybody, the library and the city. Did we downsize the pool or the community center in any way when we decided to bring the library here, if that's the way it works out?
Not that I'm aware of, no.
And the size that we're working with right now, with the outdoor pool that, we have a footprint decided and it's been sent to the planning commission, and with the footprint of the building, why isn't that larger? There's a couple of reasons. I know the answers, but what would you say, why did we not make that footprint larger than it is?
Of the outdoor aquatics?
And the whole complex.
Well, the way that building, usually those buildings, the process that's followed out, so you have to stick with me here, is they do a survey. So the survey goes out to the residents and there's an ability to pay. They ask people, they say, how much would you be willing to pay for these facilities? And then they construct the building around that for operations. The cost to build a community, to build any facility is just one cost. the cost to maintain those facilities for the next 50, 60, 70 years, 100 years, like our current community center, is multiple times more than it is to construct the building. So they designed the building for operational. That's why we do pro forma. We had a business plan that was put together that said you need this many employees, you need to have all of these things in it so that it's sustainable. We can spend $70 million on a facility. We could go bond that, we could have another boat, but we have to maintain that building for the next 50, 60, 70 years. One of the things that we have heard all along is that we need to be financially responsible in the operations of these. We also heard that in the master plan and in several other places that the city needs to be more mindful of what we're spending on these facilities. So having things indoors where you can use them 12 months out of the year, sizing them appropriately so that we can not subsidize them as much was critical to the design in the master plan. It was one of the things that we pushed on the.
So I take it from what you just said that the size of the building boils down to maybe a 5-second answer.
Sure.
Sure. The reason why our current city pool and Merriam Community Center projected project is arrived at the size that it is because we have a number in place that we cannot exceed the amount. And that number was voted on by the citizens of Merriam that took the time to go in and vote. So therefore, we're kind of constrained. If we spend more money than that, then we got to find a place where the money can come from. And we have already increased the size of the pool once, and that is because of the information that we received from many of the people in the audience. We've already made the pool larger than it started to be, so, but we were going to get to a point where something's got to give, right?
Correct.
We run out of money, guess where we're going to get the money from? And still be able to provide all the things that we promised people that we were going to provide in the process of getting to where we're at. And that's
Correct.
an under. Ms. Downey?